And good morning. It's the 26th of February, 2024. It's 08:17 Central Standard Time. Monday morning. Been kind of a balanced overnight. Right here. And it took off probably, I suppose, London. Yeah, 3:30. The Linden guys traded it up. And now it's going to be opening. We're looking to open higher in range, which is how I have got my column set up over here, and I'll input my statistics into this column. My columns here are the cloud notes, higher time frame, which I entered these values manually from the micro composite. This will be the statistics for these price levels from the study in IRT. This is the full session volume profile, which starts at 1700 last night, goes through till 1600 today. This is the current RTH session. This was Friday. It'll reset at 8:30 this morning. And this is the chart volume profile, which just draws a volume profile for what data is displayed on the screen. I have a couple of lines on my chart, but no indicators. I guess you could call the VWAP an indicator because it is calculated, but I don't consider it so. The mid and the VPOC, the volume point of control. Now, in this case, this is the volume point of control, which is a bit muted yellow. It's for the full session. When the RTH session starts, there will be a brighter yellow VPOC for that. And the mid will reset to the RTH or regular trading session. I don't mess with the mid in the overnight because I don't really trade it, and it doesn't matter to me where the mid of last night was, to be honest about it. So that's that. Now the statistics are derived from this chart right here. We have there only four possibilities: open out of range, higher in range. I should say higher out of range, higher in range, lower in range, lower out of range, gap lower, gap higher, in other words. And right now we're going to be using this one. So 23.2% of the time, the overnight volume point of control was touched in a higher in range open configuration. And that's all it is. And then I will go through the mid and the high, overnight high, and I'll just input all these values manually in the, so here I'll do one of them right now, 83.2% of the time. So the EVPOC is 83.2% of the time. And I will, try to get it on the right line here. That'd help, I guess. Jesus, what's going on here? I guess my eyes are not looking very good. There we go. And the overnight mid, which is right here, is 77.2% of the time. So 77.2. And that's all there is to it. These are just to give some sort of rule of thumb targets for what's going on. This is the micro composite VPOC, which is pretty straightforward. The overnight high is 74.9% of the time. And that's all there's to it. Just go through and put those. These are to give some sort of rule of thumb targets that may be traded to throughout the day. This is the naked volume point of control, which is Friday's regular trading session volume point of control. So that's a fairly frequently revisited number. Here's the previous close. And I'll just throw a few of these in here. 69.3% of the time they got down there. And I'll do some of these others later. I now have to post my I post this chart every day at about 8:20 for the T Lab, so they can have a bunch of their numbers. And just give me a minute here to kind of get organized. I just got back from a school run, so I'm a little bit late here. Depends on traffic. Internet's been quite dodgy. AT&T had some major issues in the last week. I'm on an AT&T fiber. I didn't have any problems last week, but it seems to be kind of slow and poking around this week. So, or today anyway. We had a couple of times it dropped last night. So I'm a little bit hesitant as to what we got going on here today. All right. So let's see here. What's the overnight low? Mid, previous high. Overnight low is 49.1% of the time. So 49.1. All right. So now we are pretty much set up here, or I am, as far as I'm concerned, set up here to have the open. I got to do a couple of things, though, that I always forget about on stream. Enable the multi-brackets, which is the risk-neutral configuration on two lots. Trade as many multiples of this as you want to, but that's the basic one. Then I will activate that for both, because I initiate with a keyboard and then move the stops with the move the targets and control the stop up for trade management with the mouse. So ready to trade. I'm going to open in about 4 minutes. And there you go. All right, we've got a few minutes before about a minute before the open here. This stream is my virtual visual video journal. I narrate so that I can review these streams and hear what I was thinking and obviously see what I was thinking. And it provides transparency and accountability for me. If it helps somebody else, great. The disclaimer and all that stuff is in the description of the video in the stream. So, it's not for advice or trade decisions or any of that kind of stuff. You can lose more money than you've got. And we're going to open here in a couple of minutes. And here we go. When we open, I will start to add or track the volume profiles, volume points of control. Obviously, it's easy to see when the market is just open, but as the day progresses, they scroll off to the left. So you'll now see this regular trading session reset. Boom, there it is. There's the volume VPOC. And you'll see that it's a little bit different than the, where'd it go? Here, there we are. A little different than the full session, and that's perfectly normal. There we go. So I've put that flag in, and that's how it works. Continue to do that through the day. It's a pretty it was a pretty balanced overnight. It's trading within previous Friday's value. So see here where we, this was overnight trade. This is yesterday. Now I've got to set these to the day session. There we go. And there we are. So we're migrating higher. This is the developing value area high and the developing value area low, somewhere down under here someplace. That's the that differs from the value area high in that this is the current session as it's developing. Duh. And this is the previous RTH session value area high. So we're taking out all the stats here. So the first handful, we've got the overnight VPOCs out, the overnight highs out, or pretty damn quick, touched anyway. And the naked point of control. So we got a handful of them in one fell swoop there. Right back. So my trade plan and philosophy is that trading business is a business of statistics and probabilities. That's why these statistics and levels are important to me. And I trade only statistically proven setups that have a statistical edge. The idea then being that the law of large numbers, you take every instance of those setups and the law of large numbers applies, and you benefit from that percent of edge. It also changes the trading game quite a bit in that you know in advance where a setup is coming from and where a setup may or may not happen. And so you wait for that. If it does set up properly and meets all your criteria, then you take the trade. Much different than gunslinging or whipping and spurring or whatever you want to call it. And I trade the risk neutral setup, which is 2-lot configuration, 3-point stop for both. The first scale is a 3-point target, and then the second contract is risk neutral. And tight range here so far. Go ahead there. Cancel, get rid of that. Why is that lighting up? I don't know. All right, there we are. This is kind of silly at the beginning because it's easy to see where this VPOC is migrating. But as the day progresses, this will all scroll off to the left. So without having it roll back and forth, you can just see where that progression was. IRT does it automatically with a stepped yellow line that I have there. And then the current VPOC is a red horizontal. So that's, check and double check, I guess you could say. Try to get some stuff down here to do. My eyes are bothering me a lot lately. God darn it. Damn mouse and IRT are not playing nice. Man, what's going on here? Trying to get the high volume nodes reset so that they will be propagating across, and it's not wanting to do what I want it to do, and that's, needless to say, irritating as hell. There we go. Turn off the damn crosshairs, I guess. That doesn't make sense. What's going on here? Oh. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. This is the micro composite. I've got it on full screen now. Of course, this is where we popped up Thursday, Friday, and here's today. Gap up, we gap down. So typically with a micro composite, my philosophy is anytime price is overlapping, I keep it in the same micro composite. This was a double gap down, and so I kept those separate and then gap up again, So what are you going to do? I guess it's all subjective. It's what you want to do with it, I guess. And yeah, now you see that the full session volume profile has now joined with the regular trading session. So in other words, these are the volume points of control for both at this point. And I guess I could, I think it's kind of overkill or a bit anal to do them one tick apart, Might as well, yeah. There we go. And yeah, so we took out a whole handful of targets, and we have to remember that we're trading in a 2/4 to 2A. We're trading in a 6-handle range so far today. Yeah, so here you can see where we are from the open, right? Traded up, and now we're just flat across the top. There we go. These high volume nodes are pushed from the micro composite right here. These green lines pushed to here. Just reference, right? Trying to alleviate all of the gambling and video gamesmanship that is so prevalent. And that's why over 95% of all retail traders fail. They don't treat it as a business. They treat it as a video game or some sort of gambling, or I'm a big shot, I'm going to risk this or whatever, The primary objective of trading is to preserve your account and be able to trade tomorrow. Many days I don't take a trade. And that's because I have other things that draw my attention away. And I believe that I need to be focused in order to trade. Obviously, I would like to not be, I'd like that not to be the case, but it is. And I recognize that. And so I am extremely conscious and vigilant against over trading or just jumping into the market and, some sort of FOMO hits or whatever else. Oh, shit, look at it go. It's running up and then I jump on a trade, which is just not conducive to running a proper business. And that's what I do here. So trade copying and it's crazy. Risk management is the fundamental element of a trading business, and having properly vetted statistical, trade setups with a verified statistical edge. And the only way you can do that is to take a statistically significant sample of trades. 50 is about the minimum number that I hear. And they have to have the exact same parameters. It has to be high, open, higher, and range. There has to be the same size stop, the same size scale. Another one. If not, then they're not part of the same data set. If one trade has a 2-lot stop and another one has a 10-lot stop, well, how can those possibly be compared? They cannot. And so in order, the quintessential example of our business is the gaming business from the point of view of a casino. They have a very, very specifically defined set of rules for each game, and they play no game which has not been thoroughly analyzed to have a statistical edge. And then they just trade as many of those instances as they can to allow the law of large numbers to manifest profit. And I think it's pretty obvious if you've ever been to a casino town or Las Vegas to see who the hell is making the money. They trade 21 the exact same way every day. And the whole plan is to trade 27, 24/7, 365 days a year. And that's what they do. They may only have, I have no idea what the statistical edge is, 3%, 5%, whatever. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. The point is, if it's whatever that is, then they just keep trading as many instances as possible with the very specific rules. And the outcome is pretty obvious. And here we are in a situation where I can't trade. The VPOC, VWAP, and mid are all stacked. I have to have a minimum of 3 points for my first scale before the first obstacle. Okay, so we're now trading around 2 points. Here's about all the obstacles you could possibly want to imagine. And they are 2 handles away. So that's impossible until this market opens up. It's about a 6-handle market at the moment, which means it's pretty impossible to get a trade on and a scale for me and for my criteria. And therefore, I'm going to be watching this, and I will be dropping off to make a presentation at the top of the hour, and then rejoin. The stream will remain up so that I don't have to stop it and start it for trades in the meantime. It looks like they're going to try to push lower. The next statistic down here would be it's not really a statistic, but it is a commonly visited area, a high volume node in the micro composite VPOC. And just below that, there's the overnight mid and the value area low and then close and whatever else on the bottom side. But there's no place for me to get on a trade here. To do with my trade plan. And it could go, they could take it clear down to the who knows, take it down past yesterday's close, Friday's close. And I'm sure people will take that trade and be all excited about it. But trading from the middle out is not something I would do or do. And no trigger here. So I watch. Okay. This other machine ready for the presentation. I wish I could get these guys to put everything in one day and then just, get it all out of the way once and be able to do what I need to do going forward. But c'est la vie, say the old folks. Goes to show you never can tell. Starting to get a little distance here between the VPOC and the mid. There is a structured trade from the T-Lab anyway that's mid or VWAP to the VPOC. The problem is, again, I need to have a minimum of 3 points to my first scale ahead of the first obstacle. Well, here's the first obstacle, so it's impossible for me to take that trade. No trade for me at this point. Disappointing for sure, but Now what some people would be trading, and it's perhaps valuable, is the micro composite VPOC test here. There's 273 stops out, comes back down to 10. So call that a mean reversion trade, which is outside in. It is counter trend, however, because so far the trend is down, but it's looking like it's going to be it's looking like a payout. The problem, again, is there's a lot of consolidated crap up here. Where are these really obstacles? I don't know. Well, that would be just, if you got right on it, perfect. That would be 3 points. So you'd be okay. I think, I forget what the word is, but the human brain has a habit of finding patterns. The longer you look at something, the more you find patterns and start to convince yourself of things, I believe. So, yeah. C'est la vie. And so it's a tough Monday morning. This potential mean reversion trade here is kind of making a little sense. The micro composite VPOC, which is right here, this is the micro composite, and this yellow is the volume point of control for this micro composite. Here's one for this one, here's one for that one, on and on and on. It's again, the micro composite is pretty subjective. It's just the rules or the thinking behind it was it's a group of, these are one day regular trading hours bars. So this is Thursday, Friday, and today's Monday. Now, the idea is that you just incorporate overlapping price. Here was overlapping price. It gapped down here, and then these overlapped. Then it gapped down here, and these overlapped. And it gapped up here, and these overlapped. That's how I do it. And, Merry Christmas if you got a better idea. Knock yourself. Great. And here's some of the others that have gone on forever. We've had some that lasted forever. And you see it's just all overlapping price. This is a little bit dicey up here. In my opinion, this is still part of this, but some of the T-Lab guys were doing different. And then we break out, and then we start trading up here. And these are all overlapping, and then we break up. And these are all overlapping, and then we break down. And these are overlapping, and then we break up. That's how I do it. And again, it's pretty personal. So that's what this represents. Okay. And a couple of fellows in the T-Lab said, well, they based their mean reversion trade off this MVPOC. And I would have been pretty hesitant about that because of the mid with a bunch of, and the previous close. There's a lot of fuel down here. But it is working out well for them and good for them. It has not reached the mean yet, which is the VPOC. The VPOC is just nothing magical. It is just the point where the most volume has traded. That's all. And that's how it changes. You can tell when it's going to migrate by the numbers right here. There's 75.58. There's 73.64. So when this trades up to another 200 points, the VPOC is going to migrate up here. It's that simple. Absolutely nothing mystical about it. And now I'm going to have to switch my headset out and configure to this other meeting. So I will put this on the Be Right Back music. Well, here we go. That was a lackluster meeting this morning, but fortunately over early. Very tight range here, obviously, about 12 handles. They seem to be leaning to the downside. The IB low was tested, but was not taken out. Bounced off this VPOC a time or two for a mean reversion, which was a pretty nice trade up to here. So they get over here where I can see it a little bit. Take this mean reversion here up. That was a pretty good trade, I guess. I didn't participate in that, but that's the only thing I've seen today that's got the range. So we're just, if we took none of these are in the range, have enough range to the scale. So, and it could break out of the IB low and, head for lower ground. Who the hell knows? But that's not a structured trade either. So you could sort of say that the IB low stat and then the overnight mid and the, previous close and all those things would be statistics that you were aiming for, but it's been a rotational day. That's an understatement. You look at over here. This is yesterday, Friday, and this is today. And they haven't been able to get down here to the overnight low or to Friday's low yet, but that's not saying they won't. And they haven't taken out the IB stat, so they're knocking on the door, but they haven't taken it out yet. That's that. Look like that. Actually, that little tail would indicate that it has been taken out. I don't see that though. I don't see that in Bookmap, but I do see it in IRT. The IB stat sets at 9:30. So after 9:30, the IB high ceases to move. The IB low ceases to move. And this is not, neither of these has taken out the IB stat, which is right there, according to Bookmap. If we go over here and, I'm not doing the right thing. This is talking on the wrong window. Sorry about that. Here's the IB low. This stat did not take it out. This one did not take it out. And the IB stat didn't set until here. So if we look at this on the larger scale, this wick right here took out the IB low, and it took it out at 9:32. So per IRT, the stat has been fulfilled. So that's even bigger reason for me not to be all excited about trading today. Yeah, I think that I am going to wrap this up at well, I guess I could leave this stream run. Seems kind of futile though. I'm torn between the devil and the deep blue sea on these on the stream length, because I have made a commitment to myself that I will not take trades off the stream for transparency, accountability, and the whole purpose of the stream is my video journal, right? So what good does it do to take trades off the stream? Anyway, and in the case of a day like this, when there's not particularly interested in this kind of a trade situation, there's nothing here for me so far. I'm torn between stopping the stream and then that would prevent me from coming back if the market starts to change or the context changes, and taking a trade without starting the stream up again, et cetera, or letting it run. I've done that several times. Have 6-hour streams. Now we've taken out the IB low per book map right there. By a tick, so it says. And it's probably going to get the overnight mid, and then we've got value area low, and then, right? But I'm torn between leaving these long streams up, simply so that if I see something happening in context change, I can just step right in and be trading. Obviously, Bookmap and IRT and those things are up from Sunday night at 1700 till Friday night at 1600. Actually, Saturday morning. But the stream is the part that hangs me up here. And they may break it out now and head for lower ground with targets of the overnight close and the previous Friday close. And here we have the overnight low at 49.5, 49.1. So, yeah. This would be considered a IBC or an IB continuation trade. They've gone through the IB stat now, taken the mid. They're testing back to the IB low. And if it's going to continue, it will break down lower. That is a structured trade. That's called an IB continuation. The problem I have with that is the basic trade of the day, which has been pretty rotational. And there's a perfect example of why I'm hesitant. I think I will let the discretion be the better part of valor here. And it may come to pass. They didn't get anywhere with these buys. All these buyers up here didn't get anything for their effort. This is not very convincing to me. I believe I will stand aside here. I've got a call at the top of the hour, and I don't feel very convinced here about what's going on. This is basically a IB continuation trade starting to set up. The problem that I have, here is that here you got 66 buy orders going off up here, but we didn't come up for a trigger. Got what would look like exhaustion with only 8 coming out here, but that doesn't, it just doesn't seem right to me. Maybe I'm just tired or my eyes bother me or whatever. Anyway, I believe that I will not engage here, and I will see what I see with my other world. Yeah, don't feel good about that. See what see what kind of a day we have had so far. Just took out that IB low. Didn't get down quite to here, and there could be definitely fuel under there. Stops, but you know, but why? This was a down context day, which would indicate to me typically that the stops are up here. They're on the top of the downtrend. So I'm not thinking that too highly about this IB continuation. And I'm going to have to move my audio equipment again to this other machine. Got to just get the Roadcaster Duo thing and my Shure mic set up so I can just switch back and forth. I now use a Logitech G Pro X headset for all my audio communication in this stream. That seems to work just fine. One of the things that I'm a little hesitant about with the fixed mic on the boom arm is that I move around a lot. I've got several screens here, and I move back and forth to read them properly or analyze them properly. And I'm not sure, you pretty much have to talk straight into a boom mic. That's the nice thing about the headset is wherever I go, there it is. May not be quite as high a quality, but what the hell? Works okay for me. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so that's over with. And what did we do here? We had a little bit of an IB continuations trade, which is nice. This was a test here, and then the continuation back up for another test and down. So it seems to be rotating at the bottom end of the scale. Just back to analyzing the market here a little bit. Let's see what this looks like. IB low is right there, I think, right below the value area low. Looks of it. Well, let's see. It's at 50.97.75. So the IB low is right under the developing value area low. That's just pretty much normal. And yeah, here was our test back up to it and then sell off. So those were good IB continuation trades. Timing being everything. So we've taken out just about every statistic there is to take, I guess. We got the IB low. We got, the ETH low, the ETH mid. Yeah. Previous close, previous low. Got them all. The only one we haven't gotten yet is the overnight low. Right there. That's the only stat that is still hanging on, I believe, on the downside. Obviously, the upside is not so much. So now got some of those things out of the way. I think I'm going to wind the stream up here at the top of the hour. I don't feel like I'm going to engage with the market. And as I said earlier, I've committed to not taking trades off stream. So it'll prevent me from jumping on there and, adding to a perhaps less than prepared analysis and trade. I'm a little too scattered out here this morning. So I will stop this stream here at the top of the hour, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. Now we're getting a nice sell-off, of course. That's a mid or IB. This would be an IB continuation trade, basically, right here. IB and the MCVPOC and the mid. Would have been a nice 5-point move to the developing value area low. And we still have an open overnight low statistic down there. These are the kind of price action here that can give you a severe dose of FOMO. And it's, looks like it's heading lower. Our NQ is right down to the VPOC. We're at the developing value area low, which we have just barely traded through a time or so. Right here. No epoch migrations for some time yet, or some time now, I should say. Got a bunch of movements around, up, down, and all around. This was the full session last night. That's why it's not reflected over here. This is from 8:30 right here. That's all we've got going on so far. Pretty much rotational with a downward skew as far as context goes. So from my point of view, longs would not be on the table, but shorts would certainly be on the table. And that, would have been a pretty good test right there. And then obviously RMT, rear view mirror trading, it's so easy to see. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to close the stream down and take care of a few things around here before I have my midday school run for. And I wish you safe trading, and I will be back tomorrow.